As so, right to Emma Wolfe and journalist James Bloodstock are here for Thursday morning to look through the papers. Good morning, one and all.
Good morning, good morning.
How was your Valentine's Day night?
Day was nice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going out tonight with my girlfriend because last night I had an early start today, obviously.
Oh, cool. So sensible,
3:30 a.m. I had to get up this morning, so...
Did you?
Yeah.
That sounds very straightforward. Should we look at some of the news? It's going to be a big financial day today. Emma, the front page of the Express, they're looking extremely optimistic. We're on the up, so loosen the purse strings, they're saying to the Chancellor.
Well, experts have been telling the Chancellor that actually the economic weather's much better than we feared, that he's got loads and loads of fiscal headroom. And they're urging him, really, that, you know, they're saying, look, the inflation figures, which were thought to be going to rise in January, didn't rise. They're still around 4%. So things look OK there. Food costs have dropped, so really basics, things like bread and cereal and biscuits and things like that are biscuits. Why are they included? Are lower. Andrew Bailey, Governor of Bank of England, has been saying it's all good, it's all good. So experts have been encouraging the Chancellor to make, well, up to £20 billion of cuts in the spring budget, which is March the 6th. They're saying we could cut income tax, or at least raise the thresholds of income tax, cut stamp duty, cut inheritance tax, and really give people a little bit more money in their pockets.
Yes, I mean, it sounds wonderful. The reality is, a lot of the big sort of economic think tanks have said we can't afford these tax cuts.
Yeah, and these experts, they've cited it's all kind of... right, let's say libertarian-leaning think tanks, so the Taxpayers Alliance, Institute for Economic Affairs, who their clarion call is we need to cut taxes, whereas the IFS, more independent think tank, has said you know the money isn't there to cut taxes at the moment. And if you look at YouGov opinion polls, most people are. Obviously, taxes at the highest rate has been since the Second World War, but most people are actually more worried about public services. So why can't I get a doctor's appointment? They're willing to pay tax if public services improve.
I mean, and also, if you look at that headline, I think John made a really excellent point just then. I mean, that's pretty outrageous. And today we could find out at 7 o'clock, GDP, don't even ask me what it means, that this country is in recession. To then read we're on the up, so loosen the purse strings. My point is very simple. I believe that the British public aren't as stupid as they're made out to be, and I think they've all realised that tax cuts are if they're given nothing more than an electoral bit of baiting. And the problem is they then have to be paid for further down the line. And why didn't it happen before is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and we can talk as much as we want about forecasts from the OBR, and we can talk about GDP and all of that. But my argument has always been until people start to feel it, people feel poorer. People in reality are poorer over the past few years. They're not feeling it in their wallets, they're not feeling it in their pay packets, and they are seeing this stuff in their fuel, in their bills.
I'm going to let you do this because I don't understand it.
Neither do I, truthfully. Hopefully James does. Front page of the Telegraph, Russia will put nuclear weapons into space. That's fears from the US. What are they worried about, and how would Russia actually do this?
Why?
Yeah, so US intelligence is apparently indicating a serious national security threat from a weapon system which could be used basically to target Western satellites in space.
Okay.
This is being a bit blown up out of proportion, I think, because you do
Unfortunate choice of phrase there, James.
Yeah.
Blown up out of proportion.
I mean, you do have an expert on Russian nuclear forces saying he's very, very sceptical of this, to put it mildly. There is a big threat from Russia, I think, in Europe, in the Baltic states, or Ukraine, for example, but also the Baltic states. But I don't think maybe we should be quite so worried about these nuclear kind of weapons in space quite yet. It seems this is a bit further down the line. There are more urgent matters we should be concerned about with regards to Russia.
Here on Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, it is worrying that you have people like Biden in charge who doesn't seem to be able to remember really very basic facts, like, I don't know, when his son died and things like that. That you have this guy at the head of the White House during this time of real instability, both in space and on Earth.
Interesting. Emma, this is. I mean, I know that this is right, but you exercise religiously. Exercise. Front of the Telegraph. It always says really, front page. It's probably not the front page. Really exercise is twice as effective at treating depression as antidepressants. A new study has suggested. Which is
and I think many of us have known this for a long time, that exercise is fantastic for your mental health, or for people's mental health. Depression is a real problem in this country. We have 8.6 million people on antidepressants in England. That's a record high. We have around 1 in 6 people being diagnosed, and this isn't just people malingering, this is people being diagnosed with moderate to severe depression. I think that's got a lot worse since lockdown and isolation and all of that. Anyway, more studies have found that walking or jogging, simple things, walk a week is much more effective, really quite significantly more effective than taking SSRIs, the common antidepressants that people take. Other things like yoga, tai chi, cycling are also pretty effective, but really walking or jogging. And I think being outside, coming into contact with other people.
It's the being outside, seeing other people,
doing something,
animals,
getting your
the
trainers on.
sunlight.
Literally, you know, you don't even need to change. Just put on a pair of trainers and go for a walk.
For me, there's something about the type 2 part of the fun. So I never really enjoy it in the moment, truthfully.
No.
If I'm running, I think this is absolutely awful. And it's going to be over.
First 10 minutes is always toxic.
Terrible.
When you come back, you always feel better.
It's like, and I've never really had that sort of runner's high people have spoken about. But just the whole day feels like I've achieved something.
Yep. Absolutely, and I always also think doing it in the morning is good because everything after that is easier. I always think if you go for a
and you're dreading it the whole day
run,
otherwise. Yeah,
everything is easier after that. It is. It is
convinced
about
you, Jeremy, to go for a jog?
I've tried that. Well, on a serious note, walking's amazing for me.
Yeah.
Like dodgy knees. And during lockdown, I do 5 or 6 miles 3 times a week. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Lost weight.
Physically
felt so
and
much
mentally,
better.
though. Even taking the kids for a run around the playground. When you come back, you feel better.
I tend to leave them in the playground.
Yeah,
they
me
annoy
too,
so
me
much. James, Rooney, really? Boxing? I mean, in the mirror.
Yeah, I mean, this seems to be something that celebrities seem to be doing. So footballers,
Yes.
Rio Ferdinand had a boxing career. I don't think it lasted very long.
And influencers, KSI
Yeah.
and all this stuff. It's the latest thing.
Is it Jake Paul? Is one of these morons? Logan Paul.
Moron.
I get confused between the two because one's a crypto scammer and the other's this kind of.
Well, they sound charming.
The other's this guy who's gone into boxing. Now, I mean, Rooney's. I mean, he was going to be a football manager and he lasted 15 games.
It's not going to be a flyweight, is he? If we're honest.
So I have high hopes for his boxing career because he's obviously no good at football management.
Boxing fan?
No, not really. I don't like seeing people smashing each other's faces in. I've never understood boxing, wrestling, any of these violent sports.
John's a font of information I read this morning. John just said, do you know he used to punch the corner flag every time he scored a goal?
Yeah, there's a video of him being knocked out by a fellow footballer. He was a very inauspicious start to his boxing career.
Phil Bardsley, I think, from
Stoke
my memory.
City. Yeah, that's right.
As for Rooney, he definitely
knocked him out on camera.
She's like, you're
really sharp today.
I know. Thank you, John. All right, John, just wind me up and let me go. There, John, I'm here.
Right, well, we'll see in the sport later. Wayne Rooney's like, right, this next story is really horrible.
It's horrid.
In the Star, at the front page, love is sniffing your smelly feet.
Well, yes.
Surely not.
Really stinky story. Shall I give you the pun? Pongdemic. Feet hearts, not sweethearts. Apparently, this is all off the back of Valentine's Day nonsense. Apparently, around 2 million Brits get really turned on by smelling their partner's stinky feet.
No, they don't.
I know, Jeremy. I don't write the headlines. Or the stories.
I once took a phone call on a radio programme many years ago, and I'm treading very carefully.
Where's
Look at your
this going?
hands,
I'm nervous.
And this guy's fantasy, and I go no further than this, he was a maitre d' or something in a hotel, and he'd see a lady come in with attractive shoes, and he would wait till she and her partner went out and go up. Listen, this is not rude. Go up to her bedroom and get, I'm going to say excited, by sniffing the inside of her shoes. But there is a big, I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Why would you smell somebody's trotters, really?
Yeah, that is a bit
I
worrying.
mean,
even the word trotter I'm a bit uncomfortable with.
What is it there?
Weird. I know, but it's just...
I mean, I've never smelt a person's feet and gone, oh, that's nice.
Rosie...
My cat does this to my football boots, where it, like, lingers around them, just smelling them for ages after I've played. The cheese smell, apparently.
But then imagine how dogs say hello to each other.
I know. Animals are another
You're
case altogether.
You're not a trotter smeller.
I'm not, but there's a line in this about honking trotters, which really makes me feel actually unwell in this time in the morning.
There's some phrases that I just really... I struggle to say, let alone read. So Emma James, with more, maybe some more tasteful stories in the next hour, will rejoin us.
What I love is out the right-hand corner of my eye,